Thank you. It's such an honor to be here today. Imagine a little girl standing in front of a mirror, not only seeing her reflection, but also seeing her doubts. She was told, "You are too black, you are too quiet, you are too shy, and even you are too stupid." All those feelings that she had was put upon her, not just by the world, but also because of her own insecurities. Those words shaped her. That little girl was me. I grew up in a household with a single mother who worked very hard to provide for us. Unfortunately, my mother passed away when I was only 16 years old. I remember that day so well. I got a phone call from my aunt. She was in a hospital. When she told me that news, I crumbled down and I asked to God, like, why? Didn't we already went through enough? Why is this happening to me? Losing my mom left a huge gap in my life, deepening my feeling of being abandoned and insecure. I found it really hard to cope, to do the world without her guidance, which only let me feel and made me even feel more alone and not belonging. As I got older, I realized that we often dim our light. We dim our light to meet with what society expects of us. And I began to pull away from who I truly was, becoming a shadow of myself. For many years, I lied to myself. I hated my past. I hated myself. I hated my true essence. I lived a lie just to fit in and be liked. I felt like a bad mom, a bad wife, a bad sister, because deep down, I knew I wasn't being my true self. Yet, I was very successful. I finished my college, I had a beautiful degree, I got married, I had 3 beautiful sons, I lived in a beautiful house, and I just went on with my day as if nothing was going on. I had become really good, a master actually, in hiding who I was. Imagine growing up in a house filled with physical and alcohol abuse, where just getting through the day is the only survival. Outside, I had to wear a fake mask. Can any of you relate to that feeling of not belonging or the pressure to pretend? Please raise your hand if you have ever had this feeling. Thank you so much for sharing this with me. There came a time and a big turning point in my life when I couldn't hide anymore. I was done pretending. I remember this day so well. I was on a ski holiday with my family. This beautiful morning, my sons and my husband, they told me we are going out for skiing. I told them, well, I'm not feeling so well physically, but actually I was struggling mentally. I forced myself to get outside for a walk. And as I was walking outside, this creepy thought came in my mind. I didn't want to live anymore. I actually wanted to end my life. I was done pretending. So afraid of my own thoughts, I started to walk back to the hotel. As I was walking back to the hotel, I came across a church. I don't know why, but somebody told me to enter. As I entered the church, I fell down on my knees. And I remember this day so well, and I say, I surrender, I surrender, I surrender. I surrender pretending to be somebody that I'm not. I surrender with all these fake layers that I've created. I surrender the lies that I've told myself to fit in society. I surrender. And as I was saying those words, something actually magical happened. When I was saying I came to the realization that I was the one, all those years dimming my own light, that I was the one hating on my beautiful self, that I was the one hating on this beautiful creation. At that moment, I was unbecoming Ellen. And it was a powerful realization. This hard something sharing your own story because it's so true to home. So, as I got this realization, I started getting vulnerable. And vulnerability means that you have to share your story. You have to actually open up. And you have to tell your truth. Have you ever taken a moment to think about what truly defines you? Imagine being so ashamed of your past experiences, being so ashamed of just being you and pretending that you are somebody that you're not because you are hiding your past. Had you ever had this feeling? And I did just that. I was hiding from my own experiences. But the beauty was, my experiences was actually what made me, what made me Ellen. And as I start realizing that, and as I start talking about it and sharing that with other people, I found that I was not alone in my struggles. And I found that what I thought that was my ugly truths, that I thought that people will judge me about, were actually my superpower and my strengths. Thank you. That day in the church was my wake-up call. And I know I have to end my story. And that wake-up call was, it's okay. We are not here to be because we already are. There's nothing to be, there's nothing to pretend, there's nothing to have. We already have this light inside of you. And when you realize that, and when you find that real deep love inside yourself, there's nothing else for you to do than to share it with the rest of the world. Because there are many people suffering. I coach a lot of young adults, and they're all struggling with the same. So we are here, we are the examples. And that's why our stories are so unique. And that's why our stories are so important. And we shouldn't keep them for ourselves. They are not ugly. They are not something you should be ashamed of. They're something you should be proud of. Because that's who you are. Thank you so much for your time.